Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Look like we got plenty of people in the chat already. We do have a great crappie fisherman aboard already. Mark, how are you today? And I really enjoy you guys coming. Paul, what's up, buddy? All right. Here we go. Here we go. Bud Crisco. Well, as of right now, I have one of my good buds that is as crazy, if not more crazy, as I am about crappie fishing on the line right now. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this guy in, and let me tell you something. This fella here put fish in hand, okay? And I'm going to let him just have the floor because he has a lot of great information. Let me introduce you guys to this guy right here. Let me get him added. Mr. Johnny B. Ketch'n. What's your story today there, sir?
I wish I got to do a little kaboom.
So you didn't fish today?
Wait just a second. I'm having a little issue there. Something popped up on my screen. I did not. Work is just wearing me out right now, man. They're working me from when I walk in to when I leave, and I don't even get a lunch break, which is when I typically go. So
Uh-huh.
I haven't been able to spring free much. I've only fished twice in the last 3 days. So I mean,
Wow. That's
that's
strange for
typical.
you.
I should fish twice per day,
Yeah.
but catching's better than fishing all day long, right, bro?
Oh, without a doubt. Without
Uh-huh.
a doubt. I totally agree.
This
Mr.
fish.
Roger, let me give this guy right here a shout out because he's doing
Sure.
some great things over there. Roger, buddy, I really do appreciate you coming over. Can you see the comments Ketch'n?
I can't see anything on here except
Oh,
you're
on the
in the
side,
show.
yeah, on the side there you should have a button that you can click for. That's if you want to see the
Chat.
comments.
Maybe the chat. Let me see what the chat says here, brother.
Okay.
Hmm. Well, it doesn't want me to chat, maybe. Chat with the
Pan
host page.
Fish
Yeah.
Weekly.
I'm not sure what's going on, brother. You know what?
Okay.
I probably.
Well, I will definitely let you know if somebody pops in here, which I'm quite sure is going to happen. Somebody's going to pop in that knows you and is going to probably have a question or two or shout out or something going on. Maurice, Mike,
Yeah.
Bryant. Oh, we got some guys popping in here, guys. Let me tell you. I see that Steve with Limits Tackle has joined us, and we're going to throw him in here. Uh, Let me go ahead and add Steve here. All right. Well, Steve left. We got Mr. Sacalait
Hey, I
Pat.
see Sacalait Pat. There's Pat.
Hey, what's going on?
Not a whole lot.
Man,
Sorry I'm late.
got all the
Huh?
got all the
Oh, you're not
gurus
late.
here, man.
I'll tell you
Hey,
what. It's
you know
gonna be some knowledge on this show tonight.
you know what I had to do? I had to do some little registration stuff and stuff like that. Look at that hat. You like that hat?
I like it. I like it.
Hey, Mark.
For you guys that are in the chat, me and this guy Sacalait Pat has did a video. Actually, me and Ketch'n has did a video together too. It's been a long time ago for me and Ketch'n, but what was that? Probably a year ago, Pat. Me and you put a whooping on those crappie over there.
That was June. June, May, June,
Okay, sweet.
June time. Well, the end of May. The end of May.
Okay,
I guess it's coming up on a year.
right, right. And it looked like
We
we
did a
got
little.
Steve.
We did a sling with Steve not too long ago.
Right,
You got
but we didn't
Steve.
record.
I thought we. Oh,
Oh, we
not
did
live.
record.
I
Yeah,
need to
we
get this
Yeah, I
did.
camera
was gonna say.
situation. I know I'm all over the place. Huh?
Thought you did one. I don't know.
Let
Where's
me let
Steve
me
at?
let me add Steve real quick, and then we'll get on some good stuff as to what's going to help people
Do I
put
have
some
an
fish in
echo or
hand.
do I need to get earbuds? Wait,
There's a
is
little
there an
bit.
echo?
There's an echo.
I'll go and get earbuds. Want me to get off and then get back on? Give me a minute.
No, we'll
I'll go
just
to.
hold
I'll
on.
go outside. I left.
Okay.
You hold on. I'll go and get some
Yeah, we'll hold
earbuds.
on. Okay.
I need to get me some earbuds. I can hear okay. Did I just get kicked out? Oh, what happened?
No, no, no. I got you.
It's doing something. I don't know what it's doing. Did Steve make it?
Steve did make it.
There
Oh,
we go,
I see
man.
him.
How's it going,
I see him.
guys?
I
Steve,
see him.
Steve, you
We're
sound really good,
surviving.
buddy.
Okay. Yeah, I'm using his earbuds.
Awesome. Hey, can you're on your phone?
Yep.
Hey, can you turn it sideways, please? There you go. All
Okay,
right.
cool, man. Cool, cool.
Uncle Bill's Crappie
Yep.
Attitude, Texas Crappie Assassins, Jerry Roth. Man, we got a lot of people in here already. Corey Kenny, Milton Basket. We got several people in here. Good people. Major Brown, Camo Joe. Hey, let's go ahead and get this thing rocking. Ketch'n, me and you were talking a little while ago about some things that we feel are very important before we get to the lake.
A drain plug.
Without a doubt.
You know, you laugh, but when Steve and I were out the other
Uh,
day over at Fort, we rolled up on a boat that was having some kind of issue at the ramp, and I
Uh-huh.
couldn't quite figure it out. Never heard him crank the motor. He was doing all kinds of fishing around back by the transom, and next thing you know, he pulled that thing out of the water, and I'm telling you, it was running water for 15 minutes out of that boat. I mean,
Wow.
it was just pouring out
Yeah, they forgot
out
the drain
the
plug.
two holes on each side and out the bottom, and they ended up driving off.
That is crazy. That is one very important
Honestly, by
thing.
now, I don't know. The fish seem to be all over the map. When I went with Steve, we were fishing in 35 to 40 feet of water. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not, that's alien to me. And the other day, I caught them in, I don't know, about 14 feet of water. But I think, I went Monday and they were in around 20 feet of water, not very cooperative. So, they seem to be pretty scattered, and it's real hit or miss for me right now. I don't know about everybody else. I know it was decent over there when I went with Steve, and it was decent when I went over west of town. But some of these other lakes are just not really. They're not putting out real well right now. I don't know, Steve. You been
Really.
in any other spots and had any great success stories for us?
Yeah, I went to Bardwell Sunday, just about 3 hours. They were in about 15 foot of water on the bottom.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep.
Now, when you guys head to these different lakes
That's it.
and areas, what are you looking for? I mean, what's on your mind that you feel is very important that's going to help you put fish on whatever lake it is that you're going to?
Myself, I'm
give me
basically
one
I
second. Hold on
basically
one second.
pattern seasons. I don't know about everybody else, but I mean I'm looking for spring, fall, summer, winter. And we heard some pretty wise advice from Jerry Hancock the other day, and he said something that I would totally agree with. Come dead of winter like this, they're going to do one or two things. They're either going to go real shallow or real deep. There's not a whole lot
Exactly.
in between fish.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Has Pat been out lately on the spot over here by the house? Is he doing any good over there with the
I'm
relief
not.
Pat?
I'm not. Yeah, he stepped out for a minute.
Okay, Steve, how deep were those fish for when you were over there at Barwell?
15 foot of water, and they were right on the bottom.
Yep, yep.
And you had
They
to sit
weren't
that
really
jig probably 30, 40 seconds before they even hit it.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Mm.
had to hold it pretty still.
So that's
Yeah,
the
Yep.
most
yeah,
important
yeah.
things you said before you go to a lake.
Yeah, Pat, you can fill us in on what's your thoughts on that?
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Well, I mostly go to local lakes, but I can hear you real well. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, you
Can
loud and
you guys
clear.
hear me?
You're loud and
Yes,
clear.
sir.
Okay. Well, a little bit of comedy there, but one of the most other things that you guys said were really important: the drain plug, life vest, and those things. But if you're gonna go to a lake that you're not familiar with, you want to bring your M&Ms, and I'm not talking about a bag of M&Ms. I'm talking about a map and a magnifying glass. You look
Now
at
I got
that
a
map
question
under a
for you.
magnifying glass, huh?
That's exactly what I was just
That's
getting ready to
old.
ask you.
That's old school right there. Now.
M&Ms. And it's not M&Ms
You
candy. It's a map and a magnifying glass.
Hey, I'll tell you what, you never have to worry about it filling.
M&Ms,
As
huh?
long as it don't blow out of the boat, you never have to worry about that filling.
Hey, you do your homework before you leave the house. When you get there, you can fish. It's like a
Without a
boxer,
doubt.
He does everything in training. When he gets to the ring, that's just a show.
Awesome.
Like a soldier, man, you do everything in training. When you got there, it's just the preliminaries, man. I know it probably sounds a little out of the way because of the technologies we have now, but nothing
Yeah.
beats a map and a magnifying glass when you get my age.
Right. Right.
I look for those contours anywhere, like where the contours are close. You look for the sharp drop offs, and then where the sharp drop offs proceed to regular, like regular drop offs, regular patterns. If they're not on the sharp drop offs, they'll be close. And based on like the where those drop offs are, if they're in a windblown area, going from shallow to deep water, that underwater, when the wind blows, it gets that turbulence under the water. So it's churning. So it's got to come up that wall. When it comes up that wall, your bait fish are right there probably.
Right.
You may see fish there. If they don't bite, they're probably full. That's just my take on it. I could be wrong though. But that map and that
Hey,
magnifying glass. Hey,
you
remember, I
mentioned a
went a
mouth.
long time without a GPS.
Yeah, you mentioned a mouthful right there. I'll tell you what, those contours, getting in an area with contours
Mhm.
breaks help break down a lake big time because you got several depths in that area. And I tell everybody, a lot of times when I'm fishing, I can turn my troll motor one way and be in 7 foot of water. And if I turn it to the opposite side of my boat, I'll be in 20 feet of water. So those contours are very, very, I feel that they're very important on locating crappie and stand on fish. And that works year round.
Okay. On the other end of the coin, the non-contour lakes that don't have a contour, like I mean, you're on a flat. It's just
Uh-huh.
like you see cows in the field. You see cows out in the field, goats, any kind of animal. You can put an old chair out of a house in there. If that's the only thing that's there, those cows gonna be around that chair. For what reason we know not. Fish are the same way. You find anything on open flat, maybe a little stump, the little things that like you like to do. Something so small that
Right.
everybody pass over, it's nothing there, nothing that you can see there.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
at some point in time they come in there or they leave in
Well,
there.
everybody knows that I preach just about every video that I do about fishing small spots. And they usually hold fish that
Mhm.
nobody else bother. It does take extra time to get on that spot
Right.
and to actually get your jig close enough for that fish to want to hit it, but it is well worth it in my opinion. What's your thoughts on small structure catching?
Hmm.
well, you guys run around in boats. I'm stuck on the bank a lot, right? So
That's a big
what
reason
y'all?
why I really wanted you in here because I want a full aspect of what everybody deals with.
Well, I'm similar to Pat and to yourself in that I'm looking for, especially if I'm on the bank, I'm looking for real steep banks. Because typically a real steep bank means there's deep water close to the shore. And that being said,
Hmm.
most of the time, if you can get yourself within casting distance of 20 foot or so, 15-foot deep water, you're probably going to find some crappie there. If there's cover, it's a bonus. You're going to be pretty much for sure crappie there. Um, and I really, really like to fish with my face into the wind because I know that wind's pushing bait to that spot that I'm standing in. So
Hmm.
those are things that I think are key quite frequently. Now, that being said, there's exceptions to every rule. And sometimes when I think I got them figured out for sure, I find out I don't have them figured out for sure. But you know how that is. We've all crappie fish. We know how that goes.
Without a doubt.
Steve, how about you, brother? What are you doing when you hit a new lake? You're looking at all your marks on your graph.
Bait, looking for bait. You know,
But
fish got to eat. So different times of
let
year,
me ask
different
you, let me
depths.
ask
You
you
know.
gentlemen, a quick question. I got a quick
Well,
question.
go
One of
ahead.
the things I'm seeing this a lot lately, and I don't understand it really, and I'm trying to make sense out of it. Some of the lakes I've been to, not all of them, but some of them, especially one out west here, the bait clouds are phenomenal. I mean, you'll be in 20 feet of water and it says it's only 4 foot deep because there's such a thick
Exactly.
bait. And underneath it looks like somebody spilled their popcorn at the movie and you can't get a
Right.
bite. You can do whatever you want to do and you just can't get a bite, And it's like, I mean, I see these old boys, they get all desperate and go buy minnows. They still can't get a bite. I'm not sure
Right.
what's up with that exactly. I don't know if those fish are
Well,
full or just in some kind
I,
of catatonic state or what.
you and I have talked about that several times, and I hear it a lot. There are guys posting graph pics of humongous bait schools, and me and Steve, me and Pat, we all
Hmm.
talk about it. The fish don't have to really work to get a full belly, uh, but it's and it's everywhere. It's not just on this lake or that lake, but on several lakes. And I feel that that feeding window is reduced down by so much that at times it's tough to get on a few fish.
I do think there is something to be said for feeding windows. I'm not sure why it works that way. I noticed the other day, I stopped at a spot. It was overcast, and I stopped at a spot, and it was noon. There shouldn't be a
Hmm.
bite there at noon. And it was on, man. There wasn't a soul around. I was just ripping them. But that same spot, most of the time, an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening is all you're going to get. The fish are there, but you ain't catching them.
Right.
I don't know if that Steve and I saw that the other day. We reached a point in the day where the fish were still there, but they just weren't cooperating much. They did, and then they kind of slowed down. Not sure what that's about. Maybe it's when they go into resting mode or something.
Hey,
What's your thought on
catching,
it?
catching, on the topic of bank fishing, I know that there's a lot, I get a lot of guys that want me to do bank fishing trips to help them out. If you would, and I know what you do to get on fish, and it's moving. You'll find a lake
You know,
with several. What's your thoughts on that?
honestly, one of the ways I stay on fish off the bank is I'll just stop anywhere I think I might get a bite. Any spot that's previously had a crappie, if the conditions look right to me, and it's not too terribly windy, I can pitch to where I need to pitch to without getting beat up. Sometimes I'll even do it in the wind, but I will stop 15 minutes and pitch. Maybe I only catch one fish, maybe I light them up. But that's
Hmm.
one of the ways I stay on fish is I have been known to hit multiple lakes per day, two or three. Just
Right.
stop at some spot and pitch off the bank, pitch off a dock, go to the next spot, pitch in a cove. So that definitely and again, I know these lakes pretty well. I'm not an expert on any of them, but I know
Hmm.
certain times of the year there are fish in those areas. So
Yeah.
I'm prone to go to a spot where I've caught fish last year this time of year,
Right.
and I think we all are.
And uh,
I don't
I,
float.
I, can you guys see these comments I'm putting up on the screen?
Yes.
I
Now,
can.
this is what I was gonna throw up next. My mentality on getting on fish is move, move, and move. I know several people have heard me say that several times. Now, what color jigs do you recommend using per watercolor? And this question has been brought to me numerous times. And in my last video,
Hmm.
I talked about the normal stuff, the dark, muddy water, dark baits. But I drop a bright chartreuse jig down there and catch a decent crappie. What's your thinking on that, Steve? Do you just go by the normal things on jig colors?
Um, I learned a few years ago, muddy water. I'll use a dark jig, a black blue, and I think them fish can see it better. But my go to is a gray ghost. First thing I pitch a gray ghost, and they'll even see that in the mud. But colors, I just use about 3 or 4 colors.
Uh huh.
I don't use like a lot of guys have 10, 12 colors in their bag. 3, 4 colors. I'm comfortable with them. You know, I got confidence. If you don't really have a confidence in the bait, you're probably not going to catch a lot.
Right. Now I was saying
Exactly.
Ketch'n holding up one of actually two of my favorite jigs, and that's orange and short, which is known especially up in North Texas as Ketch'n's carrot,
Yeah, you did.
and that straight short. Two great almost must haves in someone's jig box.
I
What's your
don't.
thought
I
on it?
very rarely. Well, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, I know Pat likes to use some dark colors, and Steve does, but I'll be honest with you, I just never have done all that well. The one time I did really well on dark color was a little bitty black jig, a micro you gave me. And I believe in that particular scenario, it had flood rain, just flooded the place. And
Hmm.
these crappie went up in this little bitty creek, and it was way after the spawn. And they were in like 3 foot of water where this water was rushing in, and they were just trying to rip the pole out of your hands on that little bitty tiny, I mean, in a microscopic little jig about that big black. I
Yeah.
believe they were feeding on tadpoles, little bitty black tadpoles you see. I think that's what was going on. Went back the next day, the water dropped 6 or 8 inches. They wasn't a fish one left.
Yeah.
I think there was a bunch of the lake doesn't have shad, and so I think they're opportunists. They take advantage of what there is. And I believe they were feeding on tadpoles that day because I never seen anything like that, and I
Yeah.
haven't done that well on it since either. But I know some other guy. I know Pat uses some dark bait, but he also
What's
fishes
your
real deep water.
yeah? What's your thoughts, Pat?
Well, pretty much like Steve and Ketchum said, pretty much something that you in yourself, whatever you have confidence in. But sometimes you just have to change, man. Sometimes, most of the time, color doesn't matter, but when it does, it does. You know how that
Hmm.
is. That's like one of the commandments of crappie. Yeah, I guess
Exactly.
you could
Yeah.
call it
Yeah.
that. When it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. I watched
Right.
Steve at Aquila one day, and Steve said, "You ready to go home?" He had then went out there and he had this little microscopic jig, and I think it was like the gray ghost. And it was inside of 30 minutes. Saying the truck hadn't, he sent me up to get the truck, and the truck was still warm. It hadn't even cooled off from a trip, and he already had a limit. It's like, golly. That's just
Oh.
how it was. And he was moving, steady moving, but
Right.
it was just something that was so small that was hitting at that time, you know.
Right.
And then again, I was using braid. That's another thing. Steve
Hmm.
was using this thicker line. I don't know what kind of fluorocarbon or whatever it is, but whatever it was, we use a line that's made out of plastic or any kind of stuff like that where it floats in the water column as opposed to that braid going straight down. So actually, it is holding in the strike zone just that millisecond more. You're gonna get bit on that quicker than you will braid a lot of times. One time probably don't matter. If you got that big giant weight on the bottom of it, just holding it down like that, maybe so. But maybe they can just
Yeah.
see the line. Sometimes the line shines, sometimes not. Or
Yeah.
maybe they can feel it from the braid, the vibration from the braid. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll tell you what.
well,
This
we all got
comment
our, I
that's
would say I know, but it's debatable.
yeah. This comment that Skinny Kenny put up right here. Let me tell y'all something. That right there says a whole bunch on what I truly believe in. Uh, I listen to the stuff that's just the normal, but hey, I'm gonna tell you, if I'm not getting bit,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make some changes, whether it's color, whether it's depth, whether it's even the type of structure. A lot of times I see that those fish will prefer to hang on a log. I mean, with no limbs, just a log on the bottom. Uh, and other times,
Mm-hmm.
it these crappie are just unpredictable, and why I love to chase them because they make me think. Hey, y'all, we got somebody else that done joined us. Let me add LBG to the live stream and see
Uh-oh.
how. There we go. Now we're a full house now.
Good evening, Joe. What's going on, Ketch'n? Pat, Steve,
Hey, how you
SK, y'all
doing?
Hey
doing
man,
all right? Doing
Good,
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 man.
good.
Sorry about that, man. I was knocked
Oh
out.
yeah, man.
Knocked out.
I'm honored to be amongst these guys, man. It's my bedtime, but hey, I said I'm gonna stay up for this one. And look, I did what I had to do, and I was like, man, I'm 4 minutes late. Yeah, man,
Now I'm a
no
little later
doubt.
than you, Pat, so you good. So
Awesome. Hey, y'all see these?
I'll try
This
to
is something
speak up
else.
a little bit. I was
Oh,
being
yeah, I forgot to get mine.
I can hear you very well, Ketch'n. But I wanted to talk about while we're on color contrast, high contrast, low contrast, natural. You know, what do you guys do? You choose jigs or make any decisions on what jig to drop based on the color contrast?
Yeah, I do. I use a lot of high contrast colors.
Right.
Some dogs, but just the confidence what you got in that color that you want to
Exactly.
drop.
Yeah, we
You
were
know,
just talking about confidence just a second ago.
yeah, yeah. So my high contrast colors, they
you
work
know
good.
me.
Go ahead, Pat.
SK knows me. I'll put a fork
Go
on the
ahead.
bait in the
That's
water if I
No, I'm
feel
just saying the most information you're gonna get. Yeah, the most information you're gonna get out of what color to use. If you can catch some crop, and when you go to clean them, if you're a person that's gonna clean them and eat them, it's a look at the stomach contents. If you had them little colorful minnows in there, them little red horse minnows with the little pinkish red fins that got some blue on them, you can go to my favorite. If you're feeding on shad, you go to that gray ghost or any kind of minnow imitation. That's the most information you're gonna get is about what is stomach. Your stomach will tell you what your head thinking, even with people. You know what I'm saying? When you dissect them, that's gonna give you what you need to go with right about there. If they biting on the shad, them shads with them little any gray with them little tips of yellow on them, your yellows, your grays, your burnt oranges, or sometimes
Correct.
the trees will tell you in the fall. Look at the
Yeah.
fall colors, like on those leaves. You can go with your burnt oranges and those carrot top jigs, like what Ketch'n loves to use, what y'all call the Ketch'n. Those are very good. And like around the spawn, the colors like monkey milk and stuff like that, because those fish been in cold water so long, they're absent of color, and the bait fish are too.
Yeah.
And then also the new fry, the new of the year will be that color. That's if there are a few basic colors, but everybody goes with black and short. But sometimes you have to just go against what your conventional thinking is. You have to think outside
Exactly.
the box, I guess,
I
or travel the road
I,
less
I agree.
traveled, I would say.
Yeah. What's your thinking on it? Catching, you started a little while ago. Go ahead and finish up what you were saying a while ago.
Well, Steve was talking about muddy water earlier, and frequently, closer you get to the bank, a lot of times the muddier it is. And I will be honest with you, there are
Mm-hmm.
times when I believe the most massive amount of contrast that you can possibly get in the water is going to help you. I think that you know, we all know they
Oh.
use their lateral line for sure. Okay, and the
Mm-hmm.
muddier the water is,
Mm-hmm.
they're more they're using it, and they can sniff it out just like a kitty cat. They're good at smelling out bait. So I think tipping a jig helps when the water's real muddy with something that smells good, and I believe that a whole lot of contrast helps them locate it once they smell it, because I think they go on the prowl sometimes when they smell it and they're looking for something and they see something move and it's on.
When
And
they
I
do
can tell
what?
that's
You
for
say when
sure.
they smell it?
I believe if a crappie nibble is a pretty strong smelling piece of scent,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
put one on there and it's breathing off in the water and it smells like a shrimp, which is highly resembles a crawdad. I believe that when a crappie goes to check it out because he smells it just like you do when you smell bacon in the kitchen, and then you locate the bacon, it's on, right? So I believe it's somewhat
So,
like that sometimes. I believe sometimes it's they
Well,
smell it their ways off and
you're
they can't
right.
see it and they start easing over towards it, and then a bunch of contrast draws their attention and bam, it's on. Can't guarantee it, but I sort of believe
Yeah.
it.
I know
Anyway,
a guy that put those
I
crappie
do know
nibbles in a
I've
Tic
had
Tac
some really
box.
good.
Cause you know
I'm sorry, Pat.
that. Hey, Mark.
I couldn't hear you,
I
Mike.
think a few of us might be familiar with a guy that put those crappie nibbles in a Tic Tac box. And then he would eat so many Tic Tacs and he swished his pockets and he got a hold of some crappie nibbles. So I know they probably taste bad because the action was hot. Look. So you talk about the taste and smell. That's what they remind me of. Mishaps, boy. Like he got the Tic Tac box mixed up with the crappie nibble box. So he was picking them on there. So
Uh
they
huh.
probably taste bad, but the action was so hot. So we had to talk about crappie nibbles the other night. They work. You prove that, Fred, all the time.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Man,
Berkeley
we
owe
got
you
some
some
great.
money. Berkeley
We
owe
got
you
some.
some. They owe you some money, Fred. Berkeley.
You know, I have yet to contact any. Well, there's one, and that was Denali Rods. I contacted them to get on their pro staff, but I just haven't pushed it a lot. I mean, right now with me working so much, I just don't have time to do a lot of that stuff. But Man, we got some great people in the chat over here, and I want to take a second, if you guys don't mind, take a quick second. I want us to cover scent. We brought that up just a second ago, and action, uh, and time limits. That'll be something we'll talk about in a minute. But I want to do a giveaway real quick. I was supposed to text you guys. I just want to do the numbers real quick, and these guys can post as many numbers as they want to win these jigs. So what I want to do is we got 109 people. I just can't believe that. 109 people watching us. So
Staying up late.
What staying up late to talk about crappie.
That's right.
Staying up
On
late
hump
to talk about crappie.
What's
On
up,
hump
chat?
day?
On hump day.
Kenny, Sacalait Bandit, and Robert Joseph. How's it going,
Dang.
guys? Y'all-
Yeah, we got a lot of good people in chat. But
Yeah,
what I
they
want to
do.
show, I'm gonna zoom in on me real quick so I can show this jig or a couple of them. This is a tadpole,
Oh wow.
and that's a custom color right there, you guys. Okay. Now we're gonna give away some of these real quick. Let me blow through them. I had got them laid out. We're gonna give away some of these, and these are all tadpoles.
Hey, you
And
can't show all the secrets.
I'm sorry about that, Steve. I'm sorry about that, buddy. One more. Let me just give one more. That beast right there. Okay, that's a beast for sure. Now we got sort of mixed up on the last live. Let me see if I can exit out of that. So what we want to do is 113 people right now. What I'm gonna do is write down a number. I'm gonna write down a number. Don't post any numbers until I say go. And then I'm gonna have somebody, when I say stop, somebody type stop in the comments if you don't mind. I don't know who would do it, but let's clean this giveaway up. And I'm writing the number down right now. 113 people. I hadn't said go yet. Don't type any numbers.
Mhm.
Okay, I got the number wrote down, and I'm watching the comments. So if you guys want to go ahead and post 1 through 113, you can type as many numbers as you want to win a pack. And this is 15 baits that you'll get. And I will supply you a hook, the proper hook with the jig hooked up the way it should be presented right. That's a nice jig right there. I'll tell you that, Ketch'n. Go ahead, guys. Oh, man, this thing's moving too fast. Wow. Oh, stop.
Let me tell you,
Stop. Hold on a minute. Y'all,
somebody
hey,
done one.
y'all don't yeah, already. Let me tell you. That thing was flying so fast, there ain't no way I could see those numbers.
They
But I
like
know
that
I
bait.
seen I know I seen the number. So I just need to find it. The first one. Wow.
I'm glad I didn't have to see all of that.
Man, let me tell you. I'm probably gonna mess up again because that's crazy. Red River Raw. The number is 37. And Red River Rob is the first person that I see with the number 37. Okay. And Red River, if you want, I'm gonna put up my email down here. Send me an email with your address. Let me see if I can find this. SK's Crappie Ketch'n Adventures at gmail.com. If you would, please send me an email and I'll get those jigs sent to you. Or we can meet on the lake. We fish a couple of the same lakes, so we can do that. Okay. I see Pat. We lost Pat. We got him back. Let me go ahead and add him back because I want to start with him since he brought the scent up. What's your thinking on scent? How important do you think scent is? Can
In the
you
muddy
hear us,
water,
Pat?
like you guys were talking, it's pretty good. I can hear you. It's got an echo, but I'm good.
Okay.
There you
I don't know how y'all hear me. Are I clear with you guys?
Yeah,
You hear me
you
clear?
got a little crackle, but we hear you.
Uh, shallow water, to me, not so much. But in deep water, I would think it'd be dark down there. It really works really well. Or the same water. That's kind of my nemesis. All of us have a nemesis. I'll go and tell you
Right.
mine. Stained water, it gets to be a little trying, man. Especially stained cold water, like it rain like in the wintertime a whole lot. I mean, it can be done, but it's a learning curve. We all have those curves. I learn all the time. That's why I still go. And them fish beat me up too. Yeah, so I'd say the scent works.
What
Yeah,
about you, Bluegill? Go ahead and chime in. You've been quiet sitting over there. What's your thinking on scent? I think I already know, but
oh yeah, I use it a lot from nibble and just regular scent, garlic. Them the two main ones I use, regular crappie nibbles and the garlic. But shallow
uh-huh.
water, muddy water, clear water. But sometimes I like to try it before I put any scent on. I like to drop that jig down before I even put anything on because it kind of helps with the timing. You know what I'm saying? If the fish want it, they're gonna go and hit it without any scent on it. If
Right.
they feel real good that day.
Right.
Sometimes you can drop it down there and hold it. They won't do nothing. They won't touch it. 5 minutes later, you put a nibble or some garlic or whatever your center choice is, and drop it down there. They'll hit it. It just scent works. It really works. Any kind of water doesn't matter what color water it is. And also, Pat, I use it in that shallow water, that muddy water too, real shallow water. It went from 4 foot to 5 foot in the middle of the summer. It works. It works real good. I'm a shallow water person too. SK will tell you that. I love the shallow water. I tried, and it could be 35 degrees. It could be 95 degrees. I'm gonna try. If it look good, I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna try it. Cause they could be there.
Right.
You have to come visit me
What
sometime, man.
are we? What about you, Steve?
We'll fish shallow. Come.
Yeah, I love using scent. I use a shad scent, and I'll even put it on my fingers because some people say the scent off the
Exactly.
hands,
Yeah.
So I'll put it on my fingers, try to get the scent off,
Yeah.
and I'll try it. And if I notice it does help, of course you're gonna keep using it. But crappie nibbles, they work. A lot of people say they don't, but I found it a lot of times they do work. And I always have them. I like the silver
Hmm.
glitter.
They do not
I don't
work.
know what it is, and that's my favorite, the silver glitter.
I like. I think the silver works good, but I just don't like all that glitter all over me. Those things. I tell you, Bluegill love using those too, and it looked like he's been to a strip club after he's done fishing. Mister Ketch'n,
Exactly right.
I think I already know
Let me
your.
ask you, gentlemen, a quick. Let's, well,
Go ahead.
I got a question. I want to see if anybody else notices this. You and SK and I have talked about this before. I I genuinely believe that the glow white and the glow chartreuse Berkeley Gulf brand crappie nibbles have slightly different odors and consistencies. Do you people seem to think that as well, or I'm just dreaming? I
Well,
swear, I swear they smell slightly different.
everybody know that the glow white is, and there's two reasons why I use it. One is because it is different from the other ones. It does have a stronger scent, and on top of that,
It
my
seems to.
white boat, my white boat don't like chartreuse pink and all the other colors because I have to scrub
You,
them. Although
you
my
don't like
boat's
them.
usually always
You don't
black.
like them chartreuse spots on your butt,
Exactly.
no doubt. Hey, and by the way, on the split tails I was showing y'all, I'm not trying to hone in on anybody's action or anything, but Steve is very, very generous with me and gave me quite a few baits to give away. So, if you subscribe to my Facebook pages or something like that. I don't do much on the. It's not really my thing, but I do have some Facebook page. Most of y'all know them and can find them. I'll probably be doing some limits tackles giveaways real soon here. I've got quite an abundance of some other stuff too that I haven't shown tonight. There's some micro baits that are real interesting. That sometimes when the shad spawn, man, little baby little dimes, teeny tiny things are in the water, and you get them little micro baits on. Sometimes you can have a real good day. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. Uh,
Steve,
yeah,
Steve,
I'm
can you
I'm a
see
firm
that?
believer in sin. I got multiple. What's that, brother?
Go ahead.
Oh, I said I
Go ahead.
carry probably, I carry no less than about 4 or 5 bottles of nibbles in my truck. I don't carry too many sharp ones, mostly white, but I do carry some sharp. And unless it's just on fire, they don't care. I'm putting one on.
Right.
Just who I am. I'm looking for an edge, man.
We all
I
are.
don't know if it'll
Yeah.
work
I'll
every
tell
time,
you that.
but it gives me confidence, man. We talk that
Yeah,
confidence factor. You know,
without
What's
a
your
doubt.
it
favorite
gives me
color,
confidence when I see
Ketch'n?
that thing bleeding in the water a
Hey,
little bit.
Ketch'n, what's your favorite color? That chartreuse split tail?
I'm sorry, sir.
Hey, what's your favorite color split tail? The
Couldn't hear.
chartreuse?
You know, I'm pretty partial to just a straight shark, brother. The straight shark is really. I mean, it's hard to beat just a straight chartreuse. But if there's a runner up, I love this little carrot. As y'all know, I'm a big fan of carrots, especially in the spring. I don't know why, but orange art in the spring, man, that'll just absolutely light them up sometimes. I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it, some people say it's because it resembles a sunfish. Other people just say it's real visible. I don't know, but I do know, especially black crappie. They seem to really have a vengeance for orange and shard, a small orange and
Hmm.
shard jig in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Males and females, they seem to knock fire out of it. And that fish I caught the other day on that dock, that was only 1 ounce off of Lake Record, and that was first drop with an orange and sharp. Just one of these split tails right there. First drop. About jerked the pole out of my hands. I was using a little ultralight all star, and I'll tell you what, man, it was all I could do to get that fish. My wife said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to get on my hands and knees and say a prayer and try to grab
Mhm.
it."
Mhm.
But yeah, I believe these real small orange and sharp baits. I'm not saying you can't use a big bait in the spring, but those little carrot things, whether they're hand ties. SK makes some great hand ties that are orange and sharp that I've used a lot of. I really love those things in the spring. I don't fish them year round, but I'm starting to right now. I'm just starting to use them pretty. Or if I think there's black crappie around, I'm using them for sure. Anyway, my thought on it. I would say
You
my favorite's just a straight
you,
shark. I've done
you
real well
mentioned
on that pearl too now in the winter.
Oh
In the
yeah,
winter,
yep.
you
yeah, the
mentioned
pearl in
orange.
the winter is hard to beat.
You mentioned orange. We may be giving some of those things
Oh,
away.
oh, we can you pass those over the screen to me, brother? I can use them.
Yes, sir. Now,
I might bend a hook or two out.
right. Now I know that Steve has live scope, and I listen to him a lot when he talks about the reaction of those fish and how they suspend a lot. And I'll say this: I'm gonna say I've been saying this for years to fish your structure top down, and I don't have live technology yet, but it's just common sense of paying attention to when you get bit, where your bait is, according to the depth and where you are in relation to that structure. So I see several people, they'll just fling their jig out there and the line's all slack and the jig's falling down. I'm gonna tell you, I get a lot of hits while my bait's easing down. And I'm controlling my jig when it falls down because I know for a fact that those fish will hit that. If there's active fish, they'll be up towards the top of that structure
Yep.
and will, I mean, knock fire from that jig before you get down to the either the bottom or to the structure. Bluegill, what's your thinking on that? Look like you're having mic issues.
Oh, there you go. There I go.
There
Hey,
you go.
long as you stay in contact with your jig, if you fishing 20 foot of water, them fish could be suspended anywhere from 8 foot to that 20 foot of water, to that bottom. You know, stay in contact with that jig, lower down until you get to the depth that they're hitting at, you know. And you can pick fish off from anywhere from, like, say, from 8, 15 to 20. So I got a spot, say, in 20 foot of water. And I start off at 12. I always start off at 12 foot. I ease it down. I might catch 4 or 5 fish at that 12 foot of water. And then after that, I strip down about another 3 feet, go to 15. I catch 4 or 5 more of the fish. And, you know, and they kind of hang out from that 20 foot of water for me at 15 to 12 foot of water. So I believe in that a lot. You know, as long as you stay in contact with it, them fish are stacked at different levels in that water column.
Without a doubt. Pat, what's your thinking on that?
About the same. Well, when like he was talking about fishing shallow, I rarely get to fish shallow, even in the summertime. Like when they're in spawn, maybe so, but like a lot of times as your line is going down, you probably want to have some kind of contact with it. I would say so because on a fish can pick it up and spit it out, and you'll never know he hit it. You may have so many. You may have 2 or 3 bites on the way down because you have those different levels. You know, if it's on the ascent, and sometimes people
Right.
say like, "Man, I didn't feel nothing. He's already there. He caught it when it was going down. That fish been on there."
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they've been on there. But live scope, with people with live scope, I see they can detect, they see the fish on there. They catch a lot of fish that people would normally catch because you wouldn't know they're there.
Right.
Exactly.
That's been when I
Cause
gather when I got on the boat with Steve and stuff, Steve showed me that.
like I said, I'm guilty of it too, SK.
And
Sometimes
so
coming up crappie fishing using the jig, some people just, toss the jig out and wait till your line to tighten up. Like I say, by the time that jig get down, it probably got hit 4 or 5 times. Some people look up, the fish might hook itself and you'll catch it. But most times you done had 2 or 3 bites before that jig even gets down where you fishing at, catching most of your fish. But you got to stay in contact with that jig if you want to catch a lot of fish. Because they are at different water columns, especially fishing deep
You
water.
know I break all the
Now,
rules
now,
on that, right?
hey, now I'm gonna save you for last, Ketch'n, because I want people to understand the difference in my technique, Pat's technique, and Bluegill's technique. You're doing something to compensate for what we're talking about, staying in contact. But I'm gonna let Steve reply. Steve has live scope, and it helps tremendously on suspended fish. But what's your thinking on when that jig is falling down, Steve?
Basically pre-live scope, before I had live scope, I would keep my hand on that line going down and going up 100%. But now with live scope, I can see what's out there. So it's a lot easier. I don't have to have my hand on the line. I drop it about a foot over the fish and then I just guide it into it. But what I've
Right.
learned in the last month is I'll put that jig over that fish. And
Mm-hmm.
once I see that fish, I call it like that fish is shaking when he
Mm-hmm.
sees that bait. And as soon as that fish sees that bait, you draw that bait away from that fish and it drives him crazy. And that fish
Without a
will
doubt.
90% of the time he'll chase it and nail it. Sometimes you just sit it there and he'll kiss it or just tap it. But if
Mm-hmm.
that bait's moving away from him, and I think it might be a natural thing, them
Yeah.
shad, going away from them fish, and that fish will just nail it. Just don't move your bait and keep your bait going away from that fish.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Ketch'n?
Well, I'd fish a lot differently than other people when it comes to that. I'm a big fan of slack line. Big fan. It is my thing, man. I love to throw out a bunch of line on the water and just watch the line. And if it stops, I'm gonna break a net. Break the jig. Honestly, though, that works best if you can use the lightest jig possible because you get such a ridiculously slow fall that it's going and it's they have a hard time with, like Steve said, if it looks like it's going by them, rising especially, if it's rising or horizontal in the water and moving away from them, they can't stand it. They gotta go. They gotta go do something about it. But a portion of those fish will see it as it's coming down and take it if it's moving slow enough. Now, if you're dropping a heavy jig real fast, you might spook them. But if it's a real light jig and it's barely sinking, and it's pretty deadly. Just watch them loops of line land there, and if it stops at any point in time, you just make sure you're not fishing with more line than you have depth. In other words, if the water's 15 foot, you don't want more than about 13, 14 foot of line out. And so when you pitch that in the water and you got a bunch of slack laying there, you're fine as long as you're paying attention to that slack and as long as you can take it up if you need to. Now, if you picks it up at 3 foot down, you got 14 foot of line, you got issues. But I do that a lot. I do pitch a slack line frequently into the water and just watch the line real close. I've done very well, especially summertime fish that are up a little bit in the water column. Feeding on some bait that's up on the surface under docks. Under docks is deadly. Pitch it up under there and just let the line lay there and watch it. If it don't go down, set the there's a fish on it. But it's just what I like to do. It's not that I'm afraid to fish a tight line. I do that, but like when the depth that Steve and I were fishing at the other day, you don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be watching your bait, and you gotta have a tight line. I mean, just 35 foot of line between you and the fish. That's a lot of line. But
Yeah.
but I don't fish deep. Frequently,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fishing less than 15 feet of water. A lot of times in 10 feet or so. So
Mm-hmm.
if I got 10 foot of line off, I pitch it in the water, and it don't go down to 10 feet. I'm probably gonna set the hook. And they're free, right? Hook sets are free.
Exactly. Yeah. Without a doubt. Well, I think it's time for another giveaway. What you guys think?
I got this giveaway. What I'm going to do
Uh-oh.
I ain't
is
got nothing yet.
Ketch'n's favorite color is that chartreuse split tail. And I'm going to give 2 packs
I'm
away,
sorry, I can't hear too well.
2-inch.
Sweet, sweet.
I
How,
didn't hear
how
what you
do they
said.
have to? What do they have to do to win?
You can make the rules, SK.
Oh, so you want me to just do the number? I mean, I'm sort of
Yeah.
scared to do that again. Man, those numbers
Let's do a
were
question.
flying.
Hey, also,
Let's do a trivia question. Someone come up with a crappie trivia question.
Oh, I
And
got
the first
a good one.
person to get it will win it. 2 packs, 2-inch chartreuse split tails. And have them just
Well, I got,
message me on Limit
okay.
Tackle, and they will be in the mail tomorrow.
That's on Facebook, right?
So whoever's got a trivia question,
that's
yep,
fast.
give them a trivia question. Something pretty good.
Well, I'll give you
Well,
something
go
that's
ahead,
good,
Pat.
and it might be a topic that could be a topic of debate that would probably last your life for 3 hours. It's whether a crappie will go down and get a bait. Live scope before live scope, you said 95% of the people say they only look up. With the invention of live scope and how it's going, you see the fish go down and get stuff. I think a lot of people's thought process has changed, even mine. So the
I
debate is whether
agree.
they'll go down and get a bait, and that's one of the main ones. You can just bait on that for 3, 4, 5 hours.
Well, I know
Would you agree?
I know my thinking on that, and I know Ketchen's thinking is right there with mine's. Uh, but it looked like we got a answer to your question already. But before we do that, let me do this. This guy, Creole Catfishing, he
Mhm.
that comment he put right there is the key, okay, to what we were talking about right a while ago. Creole, if you would send me a email at SK's Crappie Catching Adventures, you got a 15-pack multi-pack of tadpoles along with a jig to try. Yeah, a hook hooked in the right way. Uh, Now to your question, Pat. Uh, I feel the answer is yes. Do we all agree?
Look at that.
I agree.
Yes.
I think it's yes. So we've already got that answered already, and there it is right there. Uh, and we got several no's that they won't, but I know Ketch'n can attest to this too. There's been times we fished on this particular lake back when he had his boat fishing docks, and we taught flick that jig up under there and let it fall to the bottom and drag those jigs on the bottom and catch crappie.
All right.
Hmm.
And they're not gonna come from up
You
under
know,
the dirt. So
No, that's right.
they got mud on their bellies, I think.
I got one question. Maybe you guys can answer this.
What you got?
I was in Oklahoma for a few days last week. Big crappie, seen a few 3-pounders. When they spooked, they went right to the bottom and disappeared on live scope. A lot of them. And I'm wondering why the crappie do that.
What was there a structure near you?
Nope, no structure. They'll just go to the bottom.
That they're doing that to hide. That's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
hide technique.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
I've watched a lot of.
Ain't nothing to
I've
hide.
watched
so
a lot
they
of. Yeah. Go ahead, Ketch'n.
Well, it's a you see fish in an aquarium do that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a crappie. You scare the heck out of fish in an aquarium and there's no cover, they just dive down on the bottom and lay there. So I think that's they feel safe. You know, like you said, they're spooked from something. They're spooked from the boat, spooked from the jig, spooked from something, and they ain't got nothing to hide in. And crappie are good at hiding, and I think they just run down there and lay on the bottom real quick. I mean, not necessarily on their side, but get down and hug the bottom. I would if I was them and I thought something was trying to get me. Didn't have no tree to hide in, right?
That's right.
I do know that I have seen this before on multiple lakes, and I don't know why, but it seems to be extremely effective during the pre-spawn and spawn and post-spawn, and that's hopping a jig on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Just pitch
Without
it
a
out
doubt.
and just pick it up and bump the bottom and just bring it back to you real slow, hopping it along. And man, I'm gonna tell you what, I, they can't be much deeper than the jig is. So I'm thinking they're probably years ago somebody told me that their worst enemy and one of their favorite food sources is a crawdad. And I know a crawdad's a problem in the spring because he's going to eat eggs. So I don't know if it's food or protection or just a matter of the fact that they're just agitated. But one thing's for sure, I've seen guys, and I've been with a few of them myself and done it a bunch myself, pitch up on a rocky shoreline. And you're gonna lose some jigs doing it, but pitch up on a rocky shoreline and hop that thing back to you, and they'll just plow it, in the hop
Mm-hmm.
during the hops. So you might think about that if you're not scared to lose a jig or two.
Yeah,
If you're not losing jigs, you ain't crappie fishing.
that's right.
Without a doubt. I agree.
Right.
I'll tell you what. Talking about those fish on the bottom, there are several times that I'll pull up to a stump and I'll see little humps along the bottom on my 2D, and I fish it like it's fish, and it tends to work. So I know for a fact they will hook. They'll get on that bottom just like a catfish, sit there, especially around structure. I see it more around structure than anything.
I, I I so want to go with Steve. You know, Steve's really good with his live scope. He's a guru with it. And of course, I'm not any good with it, but he is. And I really would love to see. I want to experience some of the spawn action on a live scope. I want to see that bottom hopping thing, exactly what they're doing. Are they following it along the bottom? Or are they just ambushing it when it goes by, or what? I'm interested in that. Obviously, I just can only theorize because I've never seen it, but live scope will show you what they're doing. And so one of these days, I'm hoping to go with Steve and get to explore that a little bit, pitch it out, and hop it back and see if I can see what they're actually doing down there. I do know what he was saying about a bait slowly rising
And
away from them. That just they can't stand it.
Yeah.
I don't know
You
why.
can you guys see this question right here from JLD Fishing?
Yeah.
Does it make a
I
difference
see the
between
question
muddy?
marks.
I'll tell you what. That there are times, and I hadn't talked about it a lot, but on SI, especially SI, you can really tell the difference between a hard bottom and a soft bottom.
Mhm.
And uh, at times, if I'm, most of those stumps are going to be on them drop offs. It's mostly going to be a hard bottom. But if I put in a couple hours of work and hadn't got a fish, I will go to some of that structure and that darker colored bottom. And I'm not talking about just on drop off. I'm talking about out in the open where it's showing to be
Right.
mud, and it can make a difference, in my opinion. What's your thinking on
It's
that,
right.
Pat?
It's right where it transitions from a hard bottom to a soft bottom, or vice versa. Somewhere in there, you go to. That's the keys to the city right there. A lot of times, right where it transitions. I don't know if it holds bait fish there or whatever. Like you find that stuff on the bottom. It go from hard bottom to soft bottom, and you can look at your graph by setting. And it's kind of like if it's mud there or it's hard to bottom and it's real jagged. A lot of times what's real jagged close to the shore and the steep
Hmm.
drop off, that'll be honey area. At some point of the day, they're gonna use that
Yeah.
area, and it's like most is feeding fish in those areas. I ain't gonna say they all big fish, but you'll find fish feeding in those areas, all kinds.
Right. Okay, guys. Let me go ahead and do. I got a couple more packs of baits right here, and I can't show the tails on these because I'm green screening. But this is a hand tie version of what Ketch'n was holding up a while ago, and I got a special jig right here that there's going to be a person to win these, but I'm not going to show it on the screen. Bluegill will know what I'm talking about. This is classified old school gray.
Old
Okay,
school.
but we gonna do a giveaway real quick. These are on limits tackle hooks. Guys, let me tell you something. That dude right there, I need to have a screen up here because there ain't a better person or a person that's gonna work with you better on supplies to go fishing than this guy right here. I'll tell you that. Limits tackle is just a guy that's down to earth, will help anybody. He does.
Yeah,
Steve, what do you 5 or 6 giveaways a week, if not more?
Oh, I
It's,
give hundreds of baits away a week. Every time I
yeah,
go fishing, I give 100 baits away.
yeah. And the thing is, even the jigs you don't give away,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
yeah.
won't
never
be able to
mind
buy
how
them
nice it is.
cheaper.
The baits
Right.
are cheap.
And
Right. It's what
I
I was
give them
just
to
saying.
the game wardens have my baits.
Right. And
Mhm.
so any of you guys that are looking for baits or looking for tying supplies, he got the cheapest starter kits for tying jigs you can find anywhere. And be sure to look Steve up over there on Limits Tackle. I'm gonna give a shout out to Ketch'n too. He got a Facebook page, Ketch'n's Corner, correct?
Yeah, Ketch's Corner. Hey, listen, by the way, too, I run giveaways pretty frequently over on crappie.com. Uh,
Yep,
I've got
correct.
one going now. You're welcome to. I would do random.
Okay.
The one that I'm doing right now, I think it goes till February 4th over there in the contest area, and it's a giveaway, and 50 plastics in there, some of Steve, and a bunch of different stuff. It's a real big mix. Actually, there's a couple of micros, one or two, I think, in it, but and some
Huh.
stickers and some slab sauce, whatever. But yeah, I try to do some giveaways, and Steve's more than generous with me, and so have some other people been. There's a guy at Oklahoma that's been real good to me as well, and I try to make sure that I give some of that back. I couldn't
Right.
possibly use all the baits I have. So yeah. At any rate, yeah, I do give away some baits on Facebook page and on that crappie.com. I don't really YouTube's not really my big thing. So you see my videos; they're 30 seconds long.
And then we also have LBG, who's a YouTuber also, uh, and puts out some pretty good information too. So y'all be sure to check him out. And Pat is just a guy that if you don't know, you need to know because me and Pat converse, uh, not as much as I'd like to, but we converse. And every conversation is a great conversation filled up with some great information. And I thank all of you guys. So I'm gonna try to do another one of these giveaways. Tease the bottom. Pat is a beast at bottom fishing, especially on the dam. I've heard that before.
Pat wants to take
Nah,
me.
you believe
Pat
that?
wants to take me
Who
float fishing
who
next
sells
month
all that
over at the
stuff, man?
brook.
Who
We need to go
hey
go
Steve,
Pat,
float
hey,
fishing at the
who's
brook
putting
next
out
month,
all that
brother.
kind
We'll
of
catch us
information
two
th-
pound
like
jigs.
that, huh?
this guy right here that's commenting over here, he goes without needing introduction, but all of everybody knows this guy here. He's
Oh,
a
look, I can.
yeah, Hook
Hook
City
City, I know
TV.
Hook City.
Yeah,
All right.
I know
I think
Ken.
everybody knows him. But y'all,
Hey,
he's a
Ken.
YouTuber also. We got several YouTubers in the chat over here. So any of
Great,
you guys
great.
that don't know these guys, be sure to check them out. Crappie Cats TV. There's several guys over here that do great fishing videos.
Yes,
So
they do.
just more information for you guys, and there's a lot of information. It's like it's one of the reasons why I wanted all of us together to talk about all of the different things that we feel is very important. But we all catch fish consistently, catch fish. So I know people beat me up a lot on why I do some of the things that I do, but it's what worked for me. And it's goes back to what we talked about a while ago, is that confidence level. What you got confidence in is just a great thing. So I'm gonna try to do this giveaway again, and we're gonna do a Ketch'n. Hold up that orange and chartreuse jig again, Ketch'n.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a hand
This one
tied
with the
version.
jig head on it?
Yeah, just hold it up. This I can't
Right,
show the
right
green
there.
because I'm
Yeah,
green screening, but this is the hand tied version of what he's holding up right there. So we're gonna get those away right now, and we got 113 people in here. So throw up some numbers. Let me write down a number first. Let me write down a number first. All right,
Hey,
go
quick,
ahead
guys, I
and
want to mention something. Got a tip about muddy water. You know,
okay.
you saw it, and you fish muddy water, SK, so you know what I'm talking about. I
Right.
think it's due to the actual amount of sediment in the water. But for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, and I think what happens is, I think the mud in the water is so heavy and so concentrated, and then as it's settling, it's driving the bait fish to the surface. I believe that's what's going on. Of course, I don't have a live scope, but that's what I'm thinking. I catch crappie 4 foot deep in muddy water, and when it's 15 foot deep, I fish with a float. You've been with me before, Fred. You've seen that. I know you have. At any rate, I think that I guess the water gets so silted up that there's just not. It's hard on their gills down there trying to suck in that muddy water, so they move up to the surface where the water's cleaner. And I think the bait goes up and the crappie follow them. I'm not sure, but I just know I can catch them real shallow sometimes in water. And even
Right.
though it's deep, I was fishing one day 27 feet of water, 4 foot deep under a float, and hammering.
Right.
So you might keep that in mind if you're fishing real muddy water. Spring's coming, you know.
You know, me and Steve talked about that on what was that last lake you fished, Steve? That was really murky up there in Oklahoma,
Colgate.
Colgate. So it was a very muddy lake, and I told him, say, hey man, I'm not surprised that you're catching those fish. I think you were in what, 5 to 8 feet of water.
Yep, I didn't fish deeper than 8 foot of water.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, something
This
about muddy. I
get,
think it
give me a
acts as cover too for the crappie. Kind of acts as the
yeah.
you'll see those
Well,
fish get so pale they don't have a marking one.
go ahead and stop with the numbers. This is the first 42 that I found. Uh,
The,
I will look back over this, and guys, let me tell you, even on that last live, we missed a guy that commented right off the door that got the number correct. It,
ASK.
go ahead.
The number started with Kyle Campbell at 10:07 p.m. He had number 12. That's the first number we threw up on the second giveaway. Kyle
Okay.
Campbell, the first number starts with 12. You can go from there on down and check it.
Yeah, yeah. I followed it down right now. This is the first 42 that I've seen.
Okay.
So, Chat Jock, if you would send me an email. Let me throw this banner up so you'll see the email. It's pretty long. If I can find it, SK's Crappie Kitchen Adventures at gmail.com. SK's Crappie Kitchen Adventures at gmail.com. Send me an email and with your address and all that. We'll get these. And you won the carrot hand tie. And I'm gonna put a sticky note on
Hey, did
these
anyone
jigs
win
right
that
now.
chartreuse bait?
So it's okay if you want to share them with me.
Yeah. Red River Rob.
Okay.
He
Make sure
he
he
answered.
sends me a message.
Yeah, he answered Pat's question on will
Okay.
crappie feed down. Yeah,
Okay.
he was the first to put up yes.
Hmm. Okay.
I have seen
Good
them
stuff.
follow a bait down on live scope, but they didn't hit it following it down. They hit it when it stopped and came back up. I know you seen. I know SKU was sitting there.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
You watched that fish. He followed that bait down. He wouldn't touch it, but as soon as that bait started to rise, he closed in on it quick.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So, guys, hey, we've been on over an hour. I wanted to limit this. I mean, it's 10 o'clock. I mean, I know 9 o'clock is pushing it, but real quick, I mean, if any of you guys want to drop off or throw up some last words and then drop off, I mean, I know I'm a late bird anyway, even though I get up early. So, I mean, I'm not gonna keep you if you don't want to hold. So, I see Ketch'n up there pointing fingers already. So, if you want to throw up,
That's the word.
awesome. But if you want to throw any of you guys
It
want to
was
throw some
fun, y'all.
last
I
words,
enjoyed it, and I got to go.
I really do appreciate it.
It's
Hey,
past
you
my
brought some great
bedtime.
information. And hopefully this isn't the last time we can do this, because if they can't watch this and learn some great techniques to apply to put fish in their hand, hey, they need to watch it again, because we gave out some great information.
All right.
Okay,
Telling you, I got
talk to you later.
I got a lot of baits
I got
here to
something to
give
you
away,
guys.
and I got a whole pile over here. I ain't kidding.
Okay.
Steve gave me bunches of them.
Hey,
I
I want to thank all of y'all, man. Thank all y'all
Okay, what's
and
going on
allowing
with
me to
that?
come on here. I said I want to thank all of you guys for allowing me to be on here, and
I'm
everybody
not
who's
sure what's
watching. And
happening with that.
can you hear me?
Are we
Can
all
you hear me,
okay?
Fred?
Yeah,
Yeah. Can you hear me?
we lost
Something's
Ketch'n.
going on. I don't know what that is. Anybody playing music, loud music?
No.
No.
No,
No music. No
me.
nothing.
No.
I'm not playing any loud music.
I don't have no music at all.
Nope.
I see Steve.
Yeah,
Huh?
it was a good time tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna invite some pretty famous guests. Starting in a couple weeks. The world record black crappie holder. We're gonna get him on here one night.
Okay.
Be good
Cool.
for the
Good.
crowd to ask him some questions. Just go through
Correct.
how he caught that fish. You know,
That's right.
one day you're not famous, next day you're famous. You know what I mean? In the crappie world,
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Crap.
Right. Bang.
it's like hitting the lottery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody